You know that feeling like when you're walking up a flight of stairs in the dark and you think there's one more step and your foot just slams down into empty space.
Oh, man, yeah. It is a terrifying split second of free fall. I mean, your brain just completely panics because the solid ground you expected is simply gone.
Exactly. And that terrifying split second is, well, it's exactly what the Apostle Paul wanted the early church to feel in 1 Corinthians 15. Today, we're doing a deep dive into a sermon by Pastor Sung No at Praise Presbyterian Church. We are tracing this massive shift, moving from the sheer panic of what if, doubt, straight onto the solid ground of but now resurrection faith. And we want to explore how this specific shift brings immense comfort to, anyone grieving or feeling defeated. So, okay, let's unpack this.
Well, what's fascinating here is how Pastor Sung No frames the historical crisis. The believers in Corinth were heavily influenced by Greek dualism. So they viewed the human body as this, dirty, temporary prison for the soul.
Right, which makes the whole idea of a physical resurrection seem, profoundly unscientific and, frankly, unappealing to them.
Yeah, exactly. From a purely human perspective, a spirit-only afterlife just sounds cleaner. But Paul realizes that denying the physical resurrection, well, it unravels everything. So rather than just yelling at them that they're wrong, he uses this proof by contradiction approach.
Oh, so he sort of plays along with their logic.
He does, yeah. He repeatedly uses the Greek word I, which means if, just to play out their exact scenario.
Ah, I see. So instead of just debating theology, he stress tests their belief. It's kind of like setting up a row of dominoes. Like if you accept the first, no bodily resurrection, domino falling, what else gets knocked down?
Right, and the first domino to fall is the central beam. Christ himself didn't rise. And if that's true, Pastor Sung No points out that the apostles are liars and faith itself is completely hollow.
Wow, that's a massive collapse right off the bat.
It gets worse. The biggest fracture is the issue of sin. Without a resurrection, believers are actually still trapped in it.
Wait, I need to pause you right there. I understand the cross being a sacrifice, but why does the tomb have to be empty for the debt to be paid? How do those two mechanics actually connect?
That is a great question. Think of death as the ultimate penalty for sin. If Jesus dies on the cross but stays in the grave, then, death ultimately swallowed him. He didn't conquer it at all.
Oh, so the empty tomb is essentially the cosmic receipt proving the payment cleared.
Yes. Without that receipt, the debt stands, which means anyone who has passed away hasn't gone to heaven. They have, unfortunately, simply perished.
Man, so a funeral isn't a temporary goodbye in that scenario. It's total annihilation. Every comforting word spoken there would just be a total delusion.
Exactly. And this raises an important question. If we strip away the resurrection and the payment for sin, what incentive is left for how we live today?
None at all, right? Does this mean a resurrectionless Christianity is nothing more than a hollow moral philosophy with zero power to save anyone?
That is exactly what it means. If the bridge collapses there, then the YOLO mindset, eat and drink, for tomorrow we die, it isn't just reckless partying anymore.
It actually becomes the most logical, rational philosophy left on the table. Why sacrifice or live a moral life if the end result is exactly the same?
Right. So Paul walks them right to the edge of that nihilistic cliff. He lets them feel the free fall of that what-if panic. But then, in verse 20, he completely flips the script.
I love a good plot twist. What does he say?
He pivots to historical reality. He says, but now, Christ has been raised from the dead, and Paul actually calls him the first fruits.
First fruits. I always hear that term, but it usually just sounds like ancient agricultural jargon. What is the actual mechanism there? Why use that specific phrase?
Well, in ancient farming, the very first crop that ripens isn't just an appetizer. Biologically speaking, it is the absolute guarantee that the rest of the identical crop is currently ripening in the field and will follow.
Oh, wow. So Jesus' physical resurrection isn't just a unique one-off miracle. It is literally the prototype of what will happen to our physical bodies.
Exactly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this is where theology becomes tangible comfort. Pastor Sung No applies this directly to the grieving. Because of the prototype, death is truly just asleep before waking up.
That completely changes the weight of it. And, for anyone feeling exhausted or defeated by life right now, it completely shifts your perspective. It's like finding the developer notes for a brutally difficult video game.
Oh, I like that analogy. How so?
Well, once you know the code is hardwired so you absolutely win at the end, you stop throwing the controller in frustration, right? You can endure the difficult middle scenes because, the victorious final scene is already locked in.
That is spot on. Stepping off the shaky ground of what if and standing on the historical but now is really the only thing that transforms guilt, grief, and weariness into unshakable hope.
Such a powerful shift. Pastor Sung-no points out that we frequently live on top of our own daily what-ifs when life gets hard. So consider your own life as you listen to this. What current worry or what-if would totally transform if you started viewing it through the guaranteed but now ending? Next time you feel your foot stepping into empty space in the dark, remember, the solid ground is already there.